Deep within the forest, woodpeckers are among the most distinctive birds, not just for their striking appearance, but for their unmistakable sounds. They stand out with two signature voices, drumming and calls, that echo through the woodland, making them easy to notice even when hidden among the leaves. Drumming is the woodpecker's song, a rapid, resonant roll created by striking their beaks against tree trunks or branches. This rhythmic tattoo isn't random, it serves a vital purpose. Drumming marks territory, letting other woodpeckers know this patch of forest is claimed, and it also attracts potential mates by showcasing the bird's strength and vigor. The sound can travel surprisingly far, echoing between the trees and announcing the woodpecker's presence to all. Calls, on the other hand, are more varied and subtle. They range from sharp, piercing notes to rolling rattles and chattering sounds. These vocalizations are used for close-range communication, alerting others to danger, keeping in contact with family members, or expressing aggression toward rivals. Each call carries a different meaning, and woodpeckers use them to navigate the complex social world of the forest. Drumming is a long-distance broadcast designed to be heard across the forest, while calls are nuanced and meant for nearby listeners. Together, these two voices allow woodpeckers to communicate in almost any situation. For birdwatchers, learning to distinguish between drumming and calls is the foundation of woodpecker identification. It's the first step in understanding these fascinating birds. The speed, rhythm, and pattern of a woodpecker's drum can reveal the species just as reliably as a visual sighting. By listening carefully, you can often identify a woodpecker long before you see it. For example, Downy woodpeckers produce a quick, light drumming that sounds almost like a soft roll of dice on wood. In contrast, pileated woodpeckers create a much slower, more powerful drum, each strike resonating deeply through the forest like a hammer on a hollow log. Paying attention to these patterns and differences opens up a whole new world of birding by ear. It allows you to experience the forest in a richer, more immersive way. Next time you hear a sound in the woods, ask yourself, is it a drum or a call? What is the woodpecker trying to say? Is the drumming fast or slow? Is the call high-pitched or low? Each detail is a clue to the bird's identity and behavior. By asking these questions and tuning into the forest's layered sounds, you begin to translate the language of the woods, unlocking secrets hidden in plain sight. This guide will teach you how to recognize woodpecker sounds and identify species by ear, so you can discover and appreciate these remarkable birds even before you catch a glimpse of them among the trees. Woodpeckers are built for drumming. Thick, spongy skulls absorb shock, and their brains fit snugly to prevent injury. Their beaks are strong yet flexible, with slightly uneven mandibles to redirect impact. The hyoid bone wrapping around the skull acts like a safety belt for the brain. Drumming is hardwired, a fixed action pattern controlled by specialized brain regions. Each species' drum is consistent and recognizable, making it a reliable ID tool. Calls produced by the syrinx are simpler than songbirds, but just as important for communication. Separate brain centers control drumming and calling, giving woodpeckers a versatile acoustic toolkit. This unique anatomy lets them communicate powerfully and safely. To identify woodpeckers by ear, focus on rhythm, pitch, harmonics, and amplitude. Rhythm is key, steady or irregular. For example, sapsuckers drum in Morse code-like bursts, while flickers call in even series. Pitch distinguishes species. Downy's calls are high and sharp, pileateds are lower and booming. Modulation. Does the note rise or fall? Red-bellied woodpeckers' calls often descend. Harmonics add texture, pure whistles or raspy squawks help you tell species apart. Amplitude or loudness helps with drum rolls. Does it fade or stay strong? Hairy woodpeckers drum fast and flat. Downy's drum is softer and may fade. Combine these clues for a complete acoustic picture. With practice, you'll recognize woodpeckers by sound alone. Spectrograms turn sound into a visual graph. Time on the x-axis, pitch on the y-axis, and darkness for loudness. A Downy's appears as a sharp dash, a red-bellied's as a wavy descending line. Modulation is visible. Downward slopes for falling notes, upward for rising. Drumming shows as vertical lines, spacing reveals rhythm, tight for fast drums, gapped for irregular ones. Harmonics appear as stacked bands, more bands mean a harsher or buzzier sound. Use apps to generate spectrograms from recordings and match what you see to what you hear. This visual practice sharpens your ear for field identification. Over time, you'll see these features in your mind as you listen. Spectrograms are a shortcut to mastering woodpecker sounds. Soon you'll recognize patterns instantly, even without technology. Downy and hairy woodpeckers are tricky to tell apart, but their sounds hold the key. Downy's is high and soft. Hairy's is louder, lower and more forceful. Downy's whinny call is gentle and descends. Hairy's rattle is flatter, faster and more intense. On spectrograms, Downy's whinny cascades downward. Hairy's rattle is level and tightly packed. Drumming, Downy's is a quick short roll that may fade. Hairy's is a powerful flat burst that ends abruptly. Hairy's drum is more resonant and buzzy due to its speed and strength. In the field, context helps. Loud ringing calls in deep woods suggest hairy. Softer calls in brushy areas point to Downy. Focus on pitch and drum intensity for confident ID. The combination of call and drum patterns is your best tool. With practice, you'll separate these lookalikes by ear. Listen for the subtle but consistent differences. Soon you'll know them instantly. The pileated woodpecker's wild, echoing call and deep resonant drum are unmistakable, loud, slow and powerful. This bird's voice is one of the most iconic sounds in North American forests, cutting through the trees with a haunting, almost primeval quality that can be heard from great distances. When a pileated woodpecker calls, the sound seems to bounce from trunk to trunk, filling the woods with its presence. Its drumming is equally impressive. Each strike is deliberate, echoing like a hammer on wood, and the rhythm is slow but forceful, leaving no doubt about the bird's size and strength. Its call rises and falls, echoing through the forest like a jungle monkey, a wild, laughing sound that's both thrilling and unmistakable. The pileated's voice is a signature of deep woods, often heard before the bird is ever seen. The drum starts slow, accelerates and trails off, with each strike distinct. This pattern is a key clue for birders, as the pileated's drumming is much more powerful and drawn out than that of smaller woodpeckers. Red-bellied woodpeckers, on the other hand, give a rolling, throaty call that's instantly recognizable once you've heard it a few times. Their voice is less wild than the pileated's, but still carries far through the trees. Their drum is steady, medium fast and workmanlike, consistent and reliable, like a craftsman at work. It's not as booming as the pileated's, but it's confident and easy to pick out if you listen closely. The red-bellied's call is loud and often used in disputes or to announce their territory, making them one of the more vocal woodpeckers in the forest. Red-headed woodpeckers sound harsh and scratchy, almost metallic at times. Their calls are abrupt and attention-grabbing, lacking the musical quality of the other species. Their drum is weak, tinny and short, fading quickly and rarely heard compared to the others. It's almost as if drumming is an afterthought for them. The red-headed's call is abrasive, lacking the rolling or resonant quality of the others. It's a sharp, piercing sound that stands out in open woodlands and fields. Drumming is rare and less powerful for red-headed, who rely more on their calls to communicate and defend territory. You'll often hear their voice long before you notice any drumming. To separate them in the field, pileated is massive and wild-sounding, red-bellied is rolling and throaty, red-headed is scratchy and high-pitched. Each species has its own unique vocal fingerprint. For drums, red-bellied's is confident and steady, like a practiced rhythm. Red-headed's is weak and inconsistent, often barely audible. Listen for the quality and power of both calls and drums. Paying attention to these details will help you identify each species, even when they're hidden from view. These differences make identification straightforward, even for beginners. With practice, you'll start to recognize each woodpecker by sound alone, adding a new dimension to your bird watching. Once learned, you'll never confuse them. The voices of these woodpeckers become familiar friends in the forest, guiding you to their presence and adding excitement to every walk in the woods. Northern flickers are bold. Listen for their long, loud series and piercing call. Flickers often call from the ground, unlike other woodpeckers. Their drum is a fast, even roll, often on metal, making it extra loud and resonant. Yellow-bellied sapsuckers are subtle. Their nasal mewing is cat-like, and their drum is slow, stuttering and syncopated, like Morse code. Sapsuckers' quiet tapping signals sap well drilling. The flicker's drum is steady and bold. The sapsucker's is irregular and unique. Focus on rhythm. Flicker is fast and even. Sapsucker is slow and complex. Their calls and drums are so distinct you'll rarely mix them up. Learn these patterns and you'll spot them by sound alone. Their unique rhythms are instant identifiers. A woodpecker's drum is shaped by both the bird and its chosen surface. Drumming on a hollow trunk creates a deep, booming sound. On a small branch, it's higher and quieter. Woodpeckers seek out resonant surfaces, even metal signs or gutters, to amplify their drums. Substrate can change pitch and volume, but not the drum's rhythm or speed. A downy on a hollow branch may sound deeper, but its drum remains quick and short. Focus on the temporal pattern, speed, rhythm, duration for ID, not just pitch. Mentally separate the bird's performance from the instrument's effect. This skill lets you identify woodpeckers accurately, no matter the surface. Mastering woodpecker sounds takes focused practice and a bit of patience. Here's a simple, structured 3-week plan to help you build your skills and confidence. In week 1, start by listening passively to recordings of each species' calls and drums. Let the sounds wash over you as you watch spectrograms, connecting what you hear with what you see. This helps your brain link the unique patterns of each woodpecker's voice and rhythm. Pay close attention to the downy's high soft call and the sapsucker's distinctive stuttering drum. Notice how each species has its own signature sound, almost like a musical fingerprint. In week 2, take things up a notch. Actively compare similar species, like downy versus hairy or red-bellied versus red-headed, using curated playlists and blind tests. Challenge yourself to pick out differences without looking at the answer right away. Focus on subtle differences in pitch, power, and rhythm. Jot down notes about what stands out to you and revisit tricky pairs until you feel more confident. By week 3, it's time to head outside and put your skills to the test in the real world. Find a quiet spot in the woods or a local park and listen carefully. When you hear a woodpecker, try to guess the species by sound alone before you even look. This sharpens your ear and builds your confidence. Record the sounds you hear on your phone for later analysis. Reviewing spectrograms at home helps reinforce what you learned in the field. Don't worry about making mistakes. Each one is a valuable lesson that brings you closer to mastery. Every error is a step forward. Be deliberate and curious in your listening. Take time to reflect on what you hear and let your curiosity guide you to new discoveries. Here's a quick reference. Downy, soft, high call with a short, gentle drum. Hairy, loud, sharp call and a powerful, forceful drum. Pileated, wild, ringing cackle, deep, resonant drum. Red-bellied, rolling, steady drum with a rich, churring call. Red-headed, scratchy, weak drum but a bold, clear call. Flicker, long, fast drum and a distinctive laughing call. Sapsucker, mewing call with a stuttering, irregular drum. With steady practice, you'll soon be able to identify woodpeckers by ear with growing confidence and ease. The forest will become a language you understand, each woodpecker a familiar voice in the chorus. Happy listening and enjoy your journey into the world of bird sounds.